So there's a lot of lessons in this pastime of Damodar Leela. And then we'll go on to sing the Damodarastakam and read the translation also. Does that sound okay in the time we have? Yeah?
Yes, Prabhuji, that sounds good.
Wonderful. Okay, thanks so much. So then we'll begin with just an introduction to this Damodar Ashtaka song. Ashtaka means 8 verses. Yeah? 8 verses about Damodar. It's a song with 8 verses about Lord Damodar. So we've all heard different songs before in our life, isn't it? Yeah? Music is very popular. Yeah? We've all heard different songs playing on radio, yeah, where we go, people are playing music in the shopping malls, in so many places, yeah, to create a certain environment, a certain mood. And we find that most popular of all type of songs is which type of songs are the most popular songs?
Prabhuji, that the ones that are fast and have a good beat to them.
Have a good beat, have a good rhythm, yeah. And
hip hop, reggae. Hip hop, reggae, drums.
Yeah, all these different styles of music, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So people, they generally like different types of music depending what mood they're in, isn't it? Yeah. What kind of feeling, what kind of emotions they want to evoke. So music which is very emotive, which is a lot of emotions, which brings up a lot of different types of moods, those type of music is most popular. And of all the types of songs which are most popular, you can see in the history of music, usually it's the love songs which is the most popular, bestsellers, love songs. Doesn't matter whether it's hip hop or reggae or rap music or R&B or classical or rock, what have you. You'll find that in all the genres of music, these love songs are always most popular. And so this Damodarastakam is nothing but a love song, actually. It is a prayers of Muni Satyavrata Muni, his loving prayers. Not to an ordinary person, not to a boy or girl. He's offering loving prayers to the Supreme Lord, Krishna. So, in his infinite wisdom, that desire, that need for love is still there. And he's expressing that and sharing that with every one of us through these prayers. So there's no lack in spiritual life in this way. There's so many beautiful songs written by so many acharyas. And they can evoke these emotions of love, of shelter, of friendship, and so many other emotions. So we'll discuss that through the pastime of Damodar because it's very significant. How Krishna evokes different emotions from his devotees. How he's attracting his devotees. Krishna means all
attractive.
All attractive. So it's also very fitting that Krishna has songs which attract us to him. So is anyone in this group who's joining maybe for first time or who is new to Krishna consciousness, new to Bhakti Yoga, new to ISKCON? Is everyone is familiar with ISKCON here? I'm not sure. I'm looking at all of you because...
Yes, Prabhuji, I think all of them are on the journey, but probably you can introduce.
So according to the Vedic scriptures, the most ancient scriptures of the world, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The absolute truth, the source, the cause of everything, the cause of all causes, the origin of everything, is a person. He is personal. Everything doesn't come from, according to Vedanta philosophy, our philosophy, the Vaishnava philosophy of Bhakti Yoga, everything doesn't come from some impersonal state, just some effulgence or some light, or just some presence or some existence. No, actually everything comes from life and consciousness, the personality of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So without understanding this basic principle first, that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he is completely spiritual. Namam Ishwaram Sachitananad Rupam. He said in the first line of this song, it's establishing that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and he doesn't have a physical body, a human body. Actually, he has a spiritual body, which is human-like. And with this spiritual body, he plays like a human. So his activities appear like a human. But actually, they're completely transcendental activities, completely spiritual. And so this is actually a meditation. This song is a meditation on the absolute truth. A meditation on absolute truth as the Supreme Person. And this is a higher conception of the absolute truth than impersonal conception. That the Lord is just, the Supreme is just some light from which everything emanates. And so this Kartik month we've been singing this song every single day. There's no other festival one whole month every year, where we're singing and celebrating the activities of Krishna, except for this Damodar pastime, this Damodar month. So there's a lot that we can meditate on throughout one whole month of Damodar and beyond. Why only stop in the Damodar month when there's only a few days remaining? We can continue. So let us go into this pastime now of Krishna as the butter thief. Krishna is famous as Makanchor, the butter thief. And Krishna, Srila Prabhupada in one of his lectures, he has a very powerful beginning. He says, there is another world, Srila Prabhupada says at the beginning of this lecture. Such a powerful entrance into a lecture. Prabhupada is bringing us in his lectures to another world, into another reality. And that reality is Vaikuntha, is Goloka Vrindavan, the spiritual world. There's another world where there is a boy, a charming, attractive, beautiful boy. Krishna, the Makanchor, the butter thief, who goes from home to home in the village of Vrindavan, stealing butter. He's stealing butter. Someone who has everything. The Supreme Lord of all creation, material and spiritual, is stealing butter because he is evoking love from his devotees. You see? The devotees of Vrindavan, they have no need for anything. The butter is their opulence. They have everything by taking care of cows. And Krishna, because there's so much of butter, he comes and steals that butter. He steals the labor of their hard work. So this is Krishna. And then, of course, when the devotees, they recognize that Krishna has come and stolen the butter and they've not had the opportunity to catch him, they go and complain to Mother Yashoda. Yeah, Mother Yashoda, she is the queen of Vrindavan. Nandaraj, he is the king of Vrindavan. Nanda Maharaj. And so Krishna is listening to these complaints. That how Krishna came, he stole the butter, he came and he climbed on this pot and that pot, and then the boys, they jumped on his shoulders, and then they knocked the pot over, which is hanging from the swing in the ceiling. And Krishna is listening to all these complaints of the gopis. And then the pot is dropped on the floor and it makes so much mess. And listening to this, Krishna, he's enjoying so much the complaints of the gopis. And actually he said, because they are complaining, out of love, they have so much love for Krishna, that whether they're expressing their happiness for him or their frustration for him, it is all expression of the love that they have for Krishna. Krishna says that he is more pleased to hear the chastisements of the gopis of Vrindavan than the hymns of the Vedas even. Because the chastisements which the gopis are giving to Krishna, they're directly in connection with him as the personality of Godhead. So we see that Krishna, his praise in the form of chastisement is more pleasing. See, in this world, we don't have that experience. People, they want to be praised for doing something great. Celebrities, they like to be praised, singing wonderful songs, dressing so gorgeously. Krishna is not like that. He doesn't require any praise, actually. Krishna, he is self-satisfied, Atmaram. But he feels great pleasure even when he's chastised, even when he's criticized, when it's done with love, affection. So this is Krishna's position. And Satyavrata Muni, he's glorifying Krishna in this way. Because the devotees, they're attracted to Krishna's sweetness. Everything he does is very sweet. All his activities are very attractive. And the devotees of Vrindavan especially, they're chasing always for that sweetness of Krishna. They're not interested. The Vrajavasi is not interested in the opulence of God. They're not interested in the majesty, in the reverence and the awe that they're interacting with the Supreme Person. That's not their interest at all. They're very happy that Krishna will come and snatch the butter from their homes and feed it to the monkeys even, or throw it on the floor and let it waste. Because they have a very intimate relationship with Krishna in that way. So Satyavata Muni, he's praying. He's actually praying that please be merciful to me. Please let me enter into this mood of love, this intimacy, this reciprocation which is very close with you. I don't want a kind of relationship with you which is very distant and very formal. I want that intimate relationship with you, Bal Gopal. This is his prayer. So this Damodar pastime begins actually on the morning of Diwali day. Generally, we celebrate Diwali as the homecoming of Lord Ramchandra to Ayodhya. But there is another festival, there is another pastime which is also celebrated by the devotees of Lord Krishna. Because Mother Yashoda wakes up very early on the Diwali morning to churn butter in preparation, to churn milk, in preparation of sweets, for preparing sweets for the festival of Diwali. And she is there, she's churning with her hands on the churning rod, on the ropes which are connected to the churning rod. And the beautiful sound of her ankle bells and her armlets and her bracelets and her bangles and her earrings are swaying, and the thumping of the churning rod is making a very beautiful musical sound. Therefore, Mother Yashoda is known as Yashoda. Yashoda, actually, the meaning is one who gives fame. The meaning of Yashoda is one who gives fame to Krishna. Because she's singing the glories of Krishna as she's churning the butter in the morning. She's singing the glories of Lord Ramchandra. And this wakes Krishna up, and he comes running in. Mai, please give me milk. Krishna is hungry for milk. So this is interesting because we say that Krishna, or we generally think that God, he is not in need of anything. He's not a needy person. Someone who is needy, we think that person is like a weak person, someone who is very needy. But Krishna is in the form of a baby, and babies are very much dependent on their mother. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he takes on this feature to be dependent, subordinate to his devotee's love, to be subordinate to his mother's love. Why? Because it increases the closeness of the relationship between God and his devotee, Mother Yashoda. So this is very attractive to Satyavrata Muni and to all of us devotees who are aspiring to return back home, back to Godhead, to have that intimacy with Krishna. So Mother Yashoda, she stops churning the butter and attends to Krishna's need for milk, because this increases the closeness of the relationship. And she's breastfeeding Krishna there by the churning rod, until she realizes there is milk boiling on the stove further back in the kitchen. And so she has to put Krishna down to attend to that milk. And this is also another feature of the spiritual world, which we cannot experience here in this material world. In the spiritual world, everything is alive, everything is conscious. So just like we understand from the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, this body is actually dead. This mind is just made of material element. Modes of nature are influencing us all moments. But the soul is actually, the jiva is actually what is alive. In the spiritual world though, everything is alive, everything is conscious. Everything is looking for relationship with Krishna, everyone. So the milk is boiling, because even the milk has the desire that I want to serve Krishna. And Mother Yashoda, if you feed Krishna your breast milk, then what service is there for me in this pot? The milk is thinking like that. So the milk is willing to jump out of the pot, commit suicide, because I have no use, I have no service to Krishna. And in that way, it's feeling very ecstatic. So Mother Yashoda is rushing to stop the milk boiling. In the meantime, Krishna is always thinking, how can I increase the love of my devotees? Because they are fully surrendered to me, they're always meditating on me. So Krishna thinks, he begins to get angry actually. Krishna then, his anger arises. He's thinking, Mother Yashoda's put me down. She doesn't know I'm number one in her life. So in this way, he thinks, let me do some mischief. Let me bring her attention back to me. So what does Krishna do? He breaks that pot of butter which Mother Yashoda was churning, the pot which she was churning in the morning. And then, realizing, oh, I've made a mistake, he begins to run in fear, as an innocent child would do. But this is not the activities of an ordinary, naughty little child. Krishna's anger is invoked because he wants to increase the rasa, he wants to increase the pastime. Generally, someone gets angry when they're frustrated, their desires, they don't have control, their desires are frustrated, they see no end, and anger arises. Krodha. But Krishna, by his Leela Shakti, he can use all of these emotions to facilitate the pastimes. So he becomes angry. Then not only he becomes angry, he becomes afraid. It is said that even fear personified is afraid of the Supreme Lord. But in this case, the Supreme Lord is becoming afraid. Krishna is becoming afraid. Even Yamaraj is afraid of Krishna, the Lord of Death. But Krishna is afraid of Mother Yashoda. When she comes from the kitchen and sees the mess on the floor that Krishna has created by breaking the pot of yogurt in his anger, she identifies where he has run away to, because of his lotus footprints, which have marked the home of Nanda Maharaj. Because he has stepped over the butter and made his escape. And she's identified that these are the lotus footprints of my darling child, which are marked with all the auspicious markings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in her own home. So she begins to chase after Krishna. She begins to pursue a chase. And he said in the beginning of Krishna book, by George Harrison, he's written the foreword, he writes, everybody is looking for Krishna. Everybody is looking for love. So we see, actually in the world, everyone is looking. Whether it's in the form of these love songs, whether it's in the form of higher knowledge, what is the absolute truth, whether it's in the form of different perfections. There are people on the path of Gyan, people on the path of Karma Yoga, people on the path of Ashtanga, different types of yogis, all looking for Krishna, all chasing for Krishna actually. But these are all very difficult methods to attain the Supreme Lord. Mother Yashoda, she's so fortunate. The Supreme Lord is in her own home. Her method is very simple. She picks up a stick and runs after him like a naughty child. This is her method for capturing the absolute truth. Not meditation in a secluded place, not performing lots of sacrifices and giving in charity. No, her connection with the Lord is so intimate. And as she begins running after Krishna, she's perspiring, she's sweating. Hard work catching the Supreme Lord. Not an easy job to catch Krishna. She's perspiring, she's sweating, and the flowers are falling from her hair. She's showing so much determination that I have to teach my child a lesson. She doesn't think that he's the Supreme Lord because of the influence of the spiritual energy, Yoga Maya. We in this material world are influenced also by illusion, the Mahamaya. What is that illusion? We are thinking that I am the center of this universe. Everything is for me, for my enjoyment. So this is actually a very unfortunate position, that we are trying to gratify our senses, trying to enjoy with our tongues, our ears, our nose, our eyes, our sense of touch, everything in this world. And we're not feeling fulfilled in that activity. So this Maya is very strong, making us think that I have to enjoy in this world. But in the spiritual world, there's another Maya, Yoga Maya, which connects us to Krishna. That Yoga Maya, it makes us forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Why? We are forgetful of Krishna here, and we're trying so hard to remember Krishna. Then why, when we go to the spiritual world, we have to be under another Maya which makes us forget Krishna? In this world, we are forgetful of Krishna because we want to be the Lord. In the spiritual world, Krishna wants to forget he's the Lord. So he puts himself and his devotees under the Yoga Maya, because that Yoga Maya is so powerful, Krishna's energy is so powerful, it allows the devotees to forget that Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, so that they can have that close relationship with him. So this is the Maya we want to be influenced by, not this Maha Maya of this material world, which is always perpetually pulling us towards sense gratification, materialistic activities. So under the influence of the spiritual energy, Mother Yashoda is running after Krishna. She's perspiring, the flowers are falling from her hair. She's got great determination to catch the Lord. And the Acharyas explain there's two groups of flowers falling from her hair. They have great insight, our Acharyas, into the activities of the spiritual world. One group of flowers in her hair is thinking that Mother Yashoda wants to catch Krishna, and she's not able to do so. We are slowing her down. Let us jump from here. Let her perform her service. This is the mood of the spiritual world. Everything is conscious. Everything is thinking how I can serve Krishna better and better and better. So the flowers are evacuating, letting her rush on with speed. But there's another group of flowers there, which are thinking, who is this Mother Yashoda think she is? She wants to catch the Supreme Lord, our Lord, Krishna. We don't want anything to do with this. Let us get out of here. Jump out of the way. So the flowers are thinking in this way. I don't want to be part of Mother Yashoda catching Krishna. Or I don't want to be obstructing Mother Yashoda catching Krishna. So everything in this pastime, there's great depth to every little activity the Lord does. So much excitement is waiting for us in the spiritual world when we return to a relationship with Krishna. Then finally Mother Yashoda, she reaches Krishna by her determination and Krishna's mercy. We'll talk about this more later. So she catches Krishna, and Krishna begins to cry. He's crying and crying, and he's rubbing his eyes. And the beautiful mascara which decorates Krishna's eyes is being rubbed across his cheeks, on his face. And this increases his beauty. We cannot understand that Krishna is already so beautiful, all attractive, the source, the reservoir of all beauty. And still Mother Yashoda dresses him so beautifully, so gorgeously. And then Krishna is rubbing all of this ointment across his face, is making him look more beautiful. Krishna is known as Bhushana Bhushan, which means that not that he needs ornaments to make himself beautiful, but Krishna, when he wears these different ornaments and ointments and all these various decorations and beautiful clothes, those items look even more beautiful being worn by Krishna. And so in this way, even those items which adorn him are having that relationship with him and increasing the rasa of the pastime. So Mother Yashoda's catched Krishna, and she throws her stick aside, and she's thinking, how can I punish my naughty little child? Because I'm the queen of Vrindavan. She's thinking that she's has a position, a service there in Vrindavan, and I don't want to be known to be a mother of a naughty child. So she thinks, you are always performing mischief by climbing on top of all these churning rods and catching butter which is hanging from the ceilings. So I will tie you and your accomplice, the churning rod, together until you have learned your lesson. So Krishna is protesting, but the churning rod is very happy to have the embrace of Krishna. And so Mother Yashoda decides to go and get some ropes to bind Krishna. So all of the ropes in her house, she begins the first rope. She cannot bind Krishna. It's 2 fingers too short, little short. So she gets more rope. And again, she ties that rope to the first rope. And then again, wraps the rope around Krishna. Krishna is a small child body. But she's bringing ropes and ropes and ropes from her house. And remember that she is the queen of a cowherd community. Therefore, there's so many ropes to tie the cows. There's no lack of ropes in her house. But she depletes all of the ropes in her house because she cannot tie her small child Krishna to a mortar. Even though she's taken all of the ropes from her 90,000 cows and tied them all together in a long string, she still cannot bind the small body of her child. Each and every time is 2 fingers too short from the knot. 2 fingers too short every time. Just a little bit more to go. More rope. All the neighborhood gopis are watching and laughing and laughing. Mother Yashoda, you cannot tie Krishna with so much rope. And then they feel compassion upon her. They bring rope from their own homes. So explain, this is Sankirtan. Let's all serve together. Let's all serve together to bind Krishna. with our loving affection. So they're all working together. Now all the gopis are bringing ropes from their homes. Still is not enough. Then Krishna gives his mercy. What's Krishna teaching us here? Actually, Krishna will never give us a test which we cannot pass. Srila Prabhupada on many occasions says, Krishna will never give us a test which we cannot pass. Now in the world today, people are going through so many tests and difficulties. So this pastime is very appropriate for modern times. Because we can learn that Mother Yashoda, she's going through these difficulties. And even in the spiritual world, what to speak of material world, to try and catch her child, Krishna, and bind him. But with the support of the devotees around her, she managed to tie Krishna finally. Because the first rope, or the first finger too short represents Mother Yashoda's endeavor. The second finger, because the rope was two fingers too short, the second finger represents the mercy of Krishna. So we can try as hard as we like to overcome our difficulties, our obstacles, our challenges in life. Krishna will never give us a test we cannot pass. But we must have endeavor and mercy to overcome tests and obstacles. We must have Krishna's mercy. So work like everything depends on you, but pray like everything depends on Krishna. So like that, Mother Yashoda, she managed to catch Krishna. She managed to bind the Supreme Lord, who all great yogis are trying to attain, all religionists, everybody is trying to reach Krishna. She managed to bind him up and tie him to a mortar, a grinding mortar. Not only did she catch Krishna, not only did she catch the Supreme Lord, she's also able to tie him up and punish him. Such is the great position of the devotees of the Lord. So we are aspiring devotees, actually. And what does devotee mean? In many schools of Vedanta, impersonalist schools, they're teaching that become one with God, become God. That is not our philosophy. Srila Prabhupada says, no, why we should become one with God? Why we should become God? Let us become greater than God. Because this is the position of Mother Yashoda. She is able to not only capture Krishna, she is not only able to bind him, but also punish him. Her bhakti is even more powerful than Krishna. This is bhakti. This is devotion. This is the devotee, real devotee, Mother Yashoda. So we should aspire to follow in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan. We should aspire to have a devotion so great. So now Krishna is tied up with his accomplice, the grinding mortar. Krishna, who is Swarat, just by his desire everything can happen. He's completely independent, is now locked up, or locked down, you can say. He's in lockdown also, experiencing lockdown. So he wants to get out, right? He wants to get out of this bound position. He wants to be free, liberated from his entrapment, which Mother Yashoda has put him upon, as she's gone away and now doing her work. So he makes his way, he's crawling and struggling to go into the garden of Maharaj Nanda, be free, out in the open. And all of his friends are watching and laughing. Krishna, you got caught by Mother Yashoda today. So they're in great amazement. They're all enjoying this pastime. All of the residents of Vrindavan want to know what Krishna is doing at every moment. They're peering through the windows and through the cracks in the walls, through the gaps in the trees, to see what Krishna will do moment after moment. And they see Krishna go in between two giant trees in the courtyard of Maharaj Nanda. Very old, large trees. And Krishna is thinking to himself, let me pull myself out, let me free myself from this binding. Because Damodar, this is the Damodar pastime. Odar means belly, and Damo means to bind. So this pastime is all about how Krishna has been bound. And Krishna is only thinking about how to be free. Supreme Lord cannot be bound except by love, except by devotion. So he goes in between these trees and he's pulling and pulling to free himself, break the rope. And what happens? The trees fall down, the trees collapse by the pulling of this baby Krishna. But he's still not free from the wooden mortar, from the binding of the ropes. So strong is the tying of Mother Yashoda's love for Krishna. And from these trees come two effulgent personalities. They are known as Manigriva and Nalukavera. And they're offering prayers to Krishna. So many mystical aspects of the pastimes of the spiritual world of Krishna. And he comes to exhibit these pastimes, even here in this planet, 5,000 years ago, to teach us and to attract us back to him. So who are these two effulgent persons who have come? So Manigriva and Nalukavera, they are the sons of Kuver. And Kuver, he is the treasure of all the devas. In the heavenly planets, everyone has a position, a post. And Kuver, he is responsible for all of the wealth of the universe. So his sons, thinking themselves, like the great enjoyers of their rich father, of their rich father's property, were misbehaving in the lakes of the heavenly kingdom. They were bathing unclothed with the damsels of the heavenly kingdom. And passing through that region was Narad Muni. This is the history of Manigriva and Nalukavera, these persons who have come out from these trees in the house of Nanda Maharaj. So they're explaining how they got into this tree body to Krishna. They came because they were misbehaving and they were seen by Narada Muni. Now the ladies who were there, they covered themselves up very quickly, being ashamed in front of such a great Rishi, Deva Rishi Narad. But these two fellows, they were intoxicated and they'd forgotten their good morals. And so in this mood, they continued laughing and joking before a great sage without offering respect. So Narad cursed them. He said, because you are naked before me and indecent, then you shall live naked as the form of trees. And realizing their great mistake, they beg for forgiveness from Narad Muni. Now Narad Muni is not a cruel person. Actually, everything that saintly people do is very beneficial for us. Whether they bless us or curse us is all a benediction. It is all to bring us closer to our true identity, our spiritual nature. So this is the power of associating with saintly people. So even though they were misbehaving, because they asked for forgiveness, Narad Rishi said, you can be trees then in the garden of Maharaj Nanda. And when the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself comes to perform his pastimes, he will free you from this curse. Such was the mercy of Narad Muni, you know. Such miscreants were these two boys, bathing naked in front of him. What a disgusting sight. But he was so merciful, so compassionate, that he arranged for them to be delivered, not just by any person, but by the Supreme Person, Krishna. So in this way, they're relating their story to Krishna about how they became cursed as trees. Then they were asking for blessings from Krishna to have that devotion with which they can return back to the spiritual world. And Krishna blessed them. So then, this is the power of Krishna. The Supreme Lord is always the Supreme Person. Whether he's in the form of a human being, as an adult, or as a child, or even as a baby, God is always God. So even as in the form of this child, this small baby, Bal Gopal, even though he was himself bound up by this rope, he was able to liberate these two persons, Nalukavera and Manigriva. He himself was bound, and he was liberating them. Krishna is always God in any situation, even as a baby tied up. He has no restriction. And yet foolish people in the world are thinking, I can become God. But God is always God. That post is taken. No one can become God. The post is not available. Krishna is always the Supreme Lord in every situation, in every avatar, even in the form of a hog like Varahadev, in the form of a horse like Hayagriva, or even in the form as a baby. He is the Supreme Lord. Unlimited, unlimitedly powerful, unlimitedly knowing. He's full of six opulences, unlimitedly strong, unlimitedly knowledgeable, unlimitedly renounced, so on. Yet he's enacting these pastimes in order to attract us, in order to increase the devotion of his devotees. So then, the boys watching this are amazed. The Gopas, the boys, they're watching this all happening before them. And in their excitement, they're making loud noises. Haribol, Haribol, Jai Krishna, Jai Gopal. So then Nanda Maharaj comes out and sees that what's happened here? These two giant trees have fallen. And Krishna, you're tied up. What happened? And Krishna is saying, my mother Yashoda. He's again back in this behavior like a baby. After these great demigods have come and offered him prayers and obeisances, Krishna is again in the form of acting like a small child. Mother Yashoda tied me up. And he's saying, Baba, Baba, please release me. So none of the boys could untie Krishna. But the Vatsalya Ras, which binded Krishna, could untie him. Nanda Maharaj, he could untie Krishna and release him. And so this was the end of the pastime. And then Krishna returns back to his mother. So we've just tried to skim through this pastime, adding some extra information as we have heard. And so now we'll move on to singing the Damodarastakam, which is a glorification of this pastime of Krishna. And if you have lamps at home, you can do your lamp offerings now, if you wish to. Yeah, wonderful. Okay. I have to pause my screen for a moment because I need to go and get the harmonium. So please bear with me. And then we'll be back if you have your lamps ready to offer and the words, the song sheet with you. We can sing Damodarastakam. Is that okay? And then maybe after that we can have some questions. If there's some time, is that okay, Mataji? Yes, all right. So I'll just be right back then. Hare Krishna.
Please get your lamps ready. Yeah, we'll sing the Damodarastakam with Prabhuji and then we'll go on to questions. For those who joined later on, I'd just like to say that Bhakti Priya Mataji was going to do this class, but there was an emergency, and so her Prabhuji, Sachitananad Prabhuji, whom we are listening to, is doing the class for us. You can see both of them with their cute little daughter on the picture. I think most of the people in Nairobi knows this couple, so just a brief introduction to them.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Forgive me, I just left the harmonium downstairs. So if we're all ready, I'd like to begin. So now sing the Damodarastakam prayers. So how do we want to do this? Shall I sing through one time? Just sing through, because I know that with Zoom it's not easy for everyone to sing and repeat, call and response.
Oh, Prabhuji, you can sing one line and we can follow because we all want to learn.
Okay, so I'll sing each line twice then.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So it will be 2 lines at a time.
So we unmute us, we mute ourselves, or
yeah, if you would like to stay on mute, you can sing, because there's a gap the way that the audio compression works on Zoom. There'll be a gap of time. So I'll sing each line. So I'll sing the first time and you can hear, and I'll sing a second time and you can sing along. Is it okay? All right then. Thank you. Namam Ishwaram Sachitananad Rasat Kudalam Gokule Brajamanam Namam Ishwaram Sachitananad Rasat Kudalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashodadiyalakaradavamanam Aramishtamadhyantadodrutya gopya Yashodadiyalakaradavamanam Aramishtamadhyantadodrutya gopya Mamrijantam Karambojayumena Satankanetram Rudantamurnetra Yumamrijantam Karambojayumena Satankanetram Mohasasakam patri rekatatanta Siddham devam damodaram bhakti badam Mohasasakam patri rekatatanta Siddham devam damodaram bhakti badam Iti driksha lila Diksha Lila Virananda Kunde Swagoshame Majanta Agyapayantam Tadiye Sitadye Subhata Jitatva Punabrahmadastam Sa Pravritti Vande Tadiye Sitadye Subhata Jitatva Punabrahmadastam Sa Pravritti Vande Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksham Vadimva Na Janyam Vindeham Vareshadapiha Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksham Vadimva Na Janyam Vindeham Vareshadapiha Idam te vapurnata gopala bala Saradamanasya vidrashtam kimanye Idam te vapurnata gopala bala Saradamanasya vidrashtam kimanye Idam te maham bhajamatam Vritam kundale snigdharatashya gopya Idam te maham bhajamatyantanihle Vritam kundale snigdharatashya gopya Mushchumbitam bimbaratadharame Manasya virashtam alam lakshalabhe Mushchumbitam bimbaratadharame Manasya virashtam alam lakshalabhe Namo Devo Damodarananda Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukkha Jala Vimagnam Namo Devo Damodarananda Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukkha Jala Vimagnam Kripa Drishti Vrishtyati Dina Bhatana Vihanem Shamama Yamerya Shivishtai Kripa Drishti Vrishtyati Dina Bhatana Vihanem Shamama Yamerya Shivishtai Kuberatmajo Bhadamukya Vayadvas Tvaya Mochito Bhakti Bhajo Kritocha Kuberatmajo Bhadamukya Vayadvas Tvaya Mochito Bhakti Bhajo Kritocha Tatha Prema Bhaktim Svatame Prayacha Namokshe Graho Me Sti Damodareha Tatha Prema Bhaktim Svatame Prayacha Namokshe Graho Me Sti Damodareha Namaste Studamne Spuradipidamne Tvadiyo Radaya Tavishwasya Damne Namaste Studamne Spuradipidamne Tvadiyo Radaya Tavishwasya Damne Namo Radhikaya Tadiya Priyaya Namo Nathalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namo Radhikaya Tadiya Priyaya Namo Nathalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Shri Shri Yashoda Damodar Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
So hand over to you now, Kirtika Mataji.
Hare Krishna all. Sorry to transport you back to your positions. I'm sure you enjoyed the Damodarastakam, so beautifully sung by Prabhuji. I think we have exhausted our time, but I think we can take some questions. Prabhuji, is that okay? Do you have the time, Prabhuji? Okay.
Yes, Mataji, it's fine with me.
Okay. Are there any questions? It need not be pertaining to Damodarastakam. I see no questions on the chat, but if there are any questions, Divyesh Prabhuji. I think they are all soaked with Damodarastakam.
Was it a little too fast? Did it go through too fast? I was just conscious that the time was over already.
Yeah. It's okay. No, Prabhuji, it was good. It was very good.
So apologies if I was speaking in a way which was not able to understand, or if I made any mistake.
Prabhuji, I think you didn't make any mistake, and I'm guessing everybody understood you very well. Otherwise, there would be a lot of questions. This is not a group that remains quiet. There is always a lot of questions, but I think they've really enjoyed it. And I think when you enjoy something, you just don't want to speak. You put them in a meditative state.
I'd like to reconfirm that. It was so soft, so sweet, so soothing. It was very pleasant, very, very pleasant. So please do not apologize. Your association is boosting our spiritual strength, hopefully.
Thank you for your kind words, Mataji. Appreciate it very much.
Prabhuji, there is a question by Antra Priya Das. Prabhuji, please unmute yourself and ask your question or comment.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I want to ask you a question that when Narad Muni gave course to Nal Kubera and Manigriv, he already knew that Krishna is going to appear Nanda Maharaj's house. Yeah. So how come Brahmaji didn't know about that? Because when Mother Earth went to the Brahmaji, and Brahmaji went to the Vishnu to request that he can come and take avatar. Means like, can you hear me?
How is it that Brahmaji did not know?
Yes.
This is your question?
Yes, my question is that way that Narad Muni gave birth to those two demigods, and he was saying that Krishna will come and deliver you. So he knew, Narad Muni knew already before. But when Mother went to the Brahmaji, and Brahmaji.
I'm sorry, Prabhu, the audio is cutting out a little bit for me now.
Prabhuji, your
I think I
audio.
understood the question. So your question is, how is it that Brahmaji didn't know that Krishna was the Lord?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So I think you have partially given the answer yourself, because of course Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth, she approached Brahma herself, being in a distressful situation. She came in the form of a cow to Brahma Loka, and it was Lord Brahma who petitioned Lord Vishnu to come and to save the situation on the material world because of overburden of demons. So Lord Brahma petitioning on behalf of Mother Earth, he certainly knew. And of course, Lord Brahma is non-ordinary jiva. He is actually Acharya. He is actually head of the Acharya disciplic succession, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So certainly he he understands the position of Krishna. But it may be said that for the sake of pastime, by the energy of Yoga Maya, Lord Brahma, he was bewildered by Krishna. And therefore we have this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Brahma, he steals the cows, he steals the boys of Krishna. Yes? And so why does that take place? Because Lord Brahma is also participating in the Leela of Krishna. Krishna is showing his supremacy, even to be superior to Lord Brahma. Even Lord Brahma, he couldn't recognize his Lord, his Vishnu, his Lord Vishnu. Because of the Yoga Maya, every living entity, every jiva, the nature of jiva tattva is to be the nature of Tithastha Shakti, or the jiva tattva, is to either be in the Yoga Maya, under the shelter of Yoga Maya, or under Mahamaya. The living entity is never independent. So, therefore, under the Yoga Maya, Lord Brahma had been forgetful. He'd been forgetful of the position of Krishna for the sake of performing a pastime. So he thought he would play a game with Krishna. He thought he would test Krishna. And because he's greatly intelligent, he thought, I will use my intelligence and my power to take these boys and calves. And then Krishna, with greater intelligence, with greater mystic power, expanded himself into all of the boys and calves. So in that way, the lesson is there that Krishna is supreme through the act of Lord Brahma. And so Brahma is actually glorifying Krishna in an indirect way. He's showing us the supremacy of Krishna. And later he bows and begs forgiveness. He offers beautiful prayers to Krishna, which we would not have were it not for this pastime. Because Lord Brahma is the Lord of the universe. He doesn't bow down to anyone except the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu or Krishna. And so then those who are worshippers of the Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they should be under no confusion that Krishna is not the Supreme Lord or he's the Supreme Lord. There should be no confusion from this pastime about the supremacy of Krishna. Because Lord Brahma, he submits himself to Krishna. I hope that's okay. That explains for you to you, Prabhuji. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's okay. It's clear. But if you can clear a bit more, I just want to ask that if Brahmaji knew that Krishna is going to appear?
Yes, of course he knew. Yes, he knew. Because he asked Krishna personally. He asked Lord Vishnu to appear. So he knew. He personally knew. But because he came to see, he actually came to Vrindavan to see how is my Lord acting, what is his activities. And then in coming to see the Lord, Krishna was what did he see? He saw children sitting and playing and having a picnic. He saw Krishna holding rice in one hand and sweet in another hand. And he's eating with both hands, and the children are taking from his hands and giving to his hands. He became confused, bewildered. He'd never thought his Lord would act like this. So he knew that Krishna was coming, and he came to see Krishna. And then in seeing Krishna, illusion was cast over him. Yoga Maya was cast over him. Therefore, it's said that Brahma is bewildered. Not that Brahma forgot who is Krishna, but he became bewildered. He didn't become bewildered by the material nature, no. He became bewildered by the spiritual nature. He was under the influence of spiritual nature, because Vrindavan there is spiritual nature only. And this bewildered Lord Brahma, seeing Krishna in this form. Lord Brahma, he didn't become bewildered when Varahadev came from his nose He didn't become bewildered when the Vedas were stolen and Hayagriva saved the Vedas for him in the form of a horse. But seeing this child, baby Krishna, playing with children and eating with two hands, in Vedic culture is not considered clean to eat with left hand and right hand together. Left hand eating, you know. So he couldn't understand. This was like beyond him. So Krishna can bewilder anyone, even Lord Brahma. Even Mother Yashoda was bewildered because she was always thinking Krishna to be a child, but this is the pastime. This is the rasa that they have. So I hope that's okay for you, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So it's not.
My other question, Prabhuji, if you can allow me.
Is that okay,
Yes,
Kirtika?
yes, yes, go on. I have another question, but after that we can ask the other question. Please continue, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, in Vrindavan, everyone, all the gopis, they used to love Krishna, not as a god. We had that way. Then Mother Devki, he was asking Krishna that I want to see my all childhood passed away, who died. That means Mother Devki knew that Krishna is God, isn't it?
Okay. Your question is whether Mother Devaki knew that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Yeah?
Yes. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, sir. The Supreme Lord reveals himself in different ways according to his worshipper. Yayatamam prapadyante tamstateva bhajamyaham. Krishna, he reveals himself according to how we approach him. So, one way which you approach the Lord is to identify his supremacy, his majesty, his opulence, his reverential position. So, and beyond that is to acknowledge that the Lord is all attractive, all blissful. So this is known as Aishwarya Bhakti, devotion with reverence, opulence. It's a sense of devotion because Krishna is the Supreme Lord, because he is God, because he is great. Therefore, I worship him. It's called Aishwarya Bhav. Another conception is Madhurya Bhav, the concept that God is so sweet. Who could not love Krishna? So attractive, so wonderful in everything he does. That's called Madhurya Bhav, Madhurya Bhakti. So Devaki, actually her position is in the middle, a little bit. Because Krishna performs three aspects of pastime. He performs the Dwarka Leela, which is full of opulence. He performs the Mathura Leela, which is mixed opulence and sweetness. But in Vrindavan, the bhav is exclusively sweetness. So Mother Devaki, she has this mood that my son is the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of all universes, all creation, all existence, the source of everything has become my son. She's in like absolute awe that God has become her son. But the gopis of Vrindavan, their mood is very different. Because when Krishna left the Ras dance, he left them and they were heartbroken. They were searching in the dead of night for their Krishna. And they saw that Krishna, or they saw Narayan standing there before them in the forest of Vrindavan. And they approached him with respect and said, "Oh my Lord Narayan, please please give us a benediction, please help us to find Krishna. They were not interested that Narayan is there. No. They still didn't care. Still they wanted Krishna. So they just saw Narayan as a intermediary. Please give us directions. I'm lost. Do I go left? Do I go right? Just please give me directions, then I'll go my way. They were not interested in that opulence. They wanted the beauty and sweetness of Krishna. So we see how Madhurya and Aishwarya Bhav is different. So we have free will. What does this mean for us, all of these activities and teachings of Krishna? It means we have free will how we want to approach Krishna. As we approach Krishna, Krishna will reciprocate with us. So we're very fortunate because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's giving this highest thing, this Madhurya Bhav, to even lowest people of Kali Yuga. So whether we understand or not understand, by chanting Hare Krishna, by following the process Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us, we can even attain Braj Bhakti. This is the greatest thing, the greatest gift. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Nice explanation.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, maybe this might be the last question. The question is, by endeavor as Mother Yashoda was doing, why is it sometimes we struggle, yet we are endeavoring?
So say that again, sorry, the first part.
So Mother Yashoda was doing endeavor,
Yeah.
but why is it sometimes we struggle, yet we are doing endeavoring?
Yet we are doing endeavoring.
Yeah.
Yes, certainly we must act. You see, we cannot become Krishna conscious. We cannot become. Bhakti is not dormant. Is not inactive. Let's say. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he translated the word bhakti as devotional service. Not simply that I have devotion, I have love, I love Krishna within my heart, and that's enough. No. But devotional service. So I love Krishna, I want to love Krishna, let's say. As practicing, as aspiring devotees, we want to love Krishna. And we must act on that. We must endeavor for that. So that's sadhana bhakti. That's the struggle of the sadhaka. We must perform practice of devotional service with struggle. And certainly Krishna will reciprocate. That faith has to be there, Shraddha. That faith has to be there. The Krishna, my Lord, he knows my heart. He knows sometimes I'm having good days, sometimes I'm having bad days. Sometimes I can fix my mind on Krishna, sometimes I can't. Krishna knows all of our struggles. But we have to have the faith that Krishna knows. We have to have that faith, and therefore Krishna makes us patient so that our faith develops. So if Krishna doesn't give us what we want immediately, then we have to be patient. If Krishna doesn't give us at all what we want, then we should know this is not for me. This is not something I can serve Krishna with. And sometimes Krishna will overflood us with mercy. And therefore we should know that Krishna is there for us always, and we should be grateful. So whatever the result is in Krishna's hands only. But endeavor on our part should always be there. We should always endeavor to serve, to please Krishna. And what to speak of here in the material world as practicing sadhakas, as practicing devotees. We see that endeavor is also there in the spiritual world. But the nature is different because it's not based on engaging this material nature in Krishna's service. In the material world, we're engaging our material nature in Krishna's service. I can do this type of work, I can't do that type of work. I'm good at these things, I'm not good at these things. This is all because material nature. But if we engage our material nature in Krishna's service, Krishna accepts. So patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakti pranachati. Krishna says you can even offer me a fruit, a flower, leaf, even water, these material items. You can offer Krishna mode of goodness, service, he will accept. It becomes transcendental, it becomes Krishna Prasad. The result becomes spiritual. But in the spiritual world, the very nature is spiritual. The nature is itself is ecstatic. The endeavor is ecstatic. The desire to serve Krishna is spiritual. The endeavor to serve and the effort to serve with Krishna is spiritual. The instruments which we serve, the senses and the objects around us which we use is spiritual. And the result is spiritual, certainly. So that's what's waiting for us. So the lesson is that obstacles are what we see when we take our eyes off the goal. If we lose sight of the goal, then what do we see? We're only seeing obstacles. But we should fix our mind on that goal, that we want to attain Goloka Vrindavan. Keep endeavoring, keep endeavoring, keep endeavoring. Krishna will guide us from within and without through the mercy of the Guru and the Vaishnavas. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, I think we don't have any other questions, and I guess because this is just a 1 hour class, I'll hand over to Path Prabhuji. Path Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your wonderful class, and very nicely you elaborate the pastime of Lord Krishna and Damodar Leela, and singing very well, very sweet song. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. On behalf of ISKCON Eldorate, I thanks all of you. Also thanks specially His Grace Sachitananad Karuna Prabhu for his time and for his association, giving your association in the month of Kartik. We are so grateful. I request all our devotees who is joining this class, please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra once for glorification of Prabhuji. Please, everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vancha kalpa tarunbhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha Pitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for today.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.